Hey guys, this is Joe with Edelweiss, and we are going to talk about mapping your store categories. So what that means is that when you're looking at titles in a catalog, you're going to see BISAC categories, the book industry standards and classifications is what that means. But it's the classifications that publishers use for their titles. So for Made, you can see that the BISAC category is biography and autobiography / women. The order of time is science / time, and on down the list. You likely use different categories, and you definitely have your own category codes within your point of sale system, whether it's an abbreviation or a series of numbers. It's going to depend on your POS system. So what you can do, so right now, if you're going to order Made, you could put a quantity in and then change the category here however you like. So it could be bio if that's something that you use. So now whenever you import this order into your point of sale system, it's like going to automatically have bio as the category code, and that will just go right into your system. So you can do that for each title that you order if you like, or if you'd like to save some time, if you invest a little bit of time up front by mapping those categories, that'll all just kind of happen automatically, and then you can update if you disagree with where you want a title to go and that sort of stuff. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First thing you do is come up here to the tools icon, the manage your site-wide preferences. You click in there, and then you're going to see a number of options. First one is that we're going to look at is point of sale. You just want to make sure that your point of sale system is indicated here. This test store uses Booklog, so that's selected here. If you don't see your POS system in the list here, it's one that's not necessarily supported. It may or may not be able to import orders from Edelweiss. You kind of need to ask them what their capabilities are and that sort of stuff. But we're going to pretend like you're using a book industry specific point of sale system, in this case Booklog. So once that's selected, you can come down to category mappings. And here you're going to see a list. These are all the top level categories of all the BISAC categories that publishers are able to use. This isn't something that they can add or subtract from or anything like that. Or that you can. It's just this is what BISAC categories there are. And so titles are assigned one of these categories. We're going to work in fiction today just because that's usually a nice, easy to understand situation. So here, right now, any titles that come up labeled as fiction are going to be blank. We can change that if we like. If our category code in Booklog is FICT, then we can just add that in there. And now any fiction title that comes up in a catalog is going to automatically show FICT as a category code. I'm going to go ahead and add in this column here for the description. So if you like, you can add in your category description as well. That's totally optional. The important thing here is the actual category code. And then you just want to make sure that you save that. And now if we go back to that catalog, and I'm going to refresh it. So within this little list I made up, there are a couple biographies, science, some history books, I think, but then there are some fiction as well. So we have some Louise Penny here, and you can see that FICT that we added in is automatically populating that. And you know that this is an automatic mapped category because of this little lightning bolt here. You see that on each of these. If we were to change this to anything at all, just add a random series numbers there. That little lightning bolt icon disappears, which indicates that this is a category that you added manually. I'm going to actually delete that again. All right, so within your store, you may place all fiction titles within fiction, but chances are you have a science fiction fantasy section and a mystery section and zombie fiction section, who knows? That's kind of why this is a thing, is that every store out there is a little bit different in how you classify titles. You may classify them according to color, for example. We don't know. You probably don't, but you could. Hopefully you don't, frankly. But you can come in and go back to your category mappings here, and then we are going to dive into the fiction subcategories. So you click here and scroll down to fiction, and then you're going to see a whole list of all the different genres within that fiction category. So anything that is blank here is still going to automatically have that FICT classification that we added in on the first page there. What we're doing here is we're going to override that FICT code with something that that we use here. So we have, I'm going to scroll down to mysteries, and just going to make it really simple here. Just going to go through and select all the mystery classifications here. Oops, not that one. And so we selected all those mystery subgenres there. Now we're going to click into fill selection. And the export value, we're going to say is MYST as our code. And I do like to have the description in there. If you already have a bunch of stuff listed in here, you can override existing values, which means this is going to take precedence over any codes that you've already entered there. Probably not the case if you're just starting out. So then we click save, and nice and easy, we come back here and refresh the page again. We'll see that that Louise Penny title now has a MYST category code. There you go. We didn't do anything with science fiction, so the Martian here is still showing as fiction. And fiction literary, you probably just put in a regular fiction, I would imagine, so I would just leave that. Yeah, so we're gonna pop back in, and just to reiterate what we're doing here. So in category mappings, again, we have fiction here as the overall category code, and we're gonna go into the secondary category levels and override that for science fiction and fantasy. And you may have, like, what did I just see? Like contemporary fantasy, you may not put in fantasy. You may steer that more towards epic fantasy or whatever, so you would not select that one. Totally up to you, of course, and how you classify your titles. And of course, with fantasy and science fiction, we are talking about two different genres here. So we'd have fantasy here, and then I'll scroll down. You can see our mysteries are still there. I'll scroll down into science fiction. And just real quick, select all these. There we go. And then fill selection, export value, we'll say we use SCIF. and save. All right, so now if we pop back into our little catalog here, the Martian is going to have that SCIF category, just like that. So again, that just pops up automatically as you're going through a catalog. You're going to see those come in. If you know, the Martian, you want this to be in a different category when it first comes in, you know, a front table or something like that. We'll just say, give it a display category here. And so now when this comes into your system, it's going to automatically have that display category code in there. I'm going to add just a couple, I'm going to order each of these so we can see what it looks like on the back end on the order side. And go into orders. And this is the order I just kind of happen to be working on. We're going to look in the export preview here, which is how your order is going to look when you export it. It's going to be, you know, kind of column by column what's going to be coming through in that that file. So we can see here in the store categories, these are the ones that I added in, and order of time, Boys in the Boat, the sports or history, and the science stuff I didn't touch, so those are blank, like so. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. And this is something here, you know, order of time. Oops, clicked the wrong button there. You can come in and add a category code here if you like. But you don't have to do that if you do your mapping correctly. And really with the mapping stuff, it could be, you know, you map everything and you realize as things come through that you keep having to change stuff. So that you can always go in and just update what you did, change it up. So realistically speaking, there are a lot of BISAC category codes here. And so doing this, the mapping part is investment. You probably spend an hour or possibly two to do this. It kind of depends on how complex your store's classifications are. But once you do it, you're done, you know, and then it's something you don't have to worry about anymore unless you want to change something. Yep, so nice and easy. Just want to point out as well, you can also map vendors and publishers and formats. All of these, you know, like the format mappings, these are very much based on the codes that publishers send through. So you're going to see like lots of different trade paperback things. These codes mean something to the publisher. For us, generally speaking, it's just paperback, right? So if it's PB, etc., on down the line. But again, something that you, excuse me, you map once and you're good to go. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at support@abovethetreeland.com, or if you want to see step-by-step instructions for what we just talked about, if you go to help and get help. Within the booksellers, the mapping stuff is contained in ordering because it's directly related to that, or you can type in mapping and you'll see some options here. But this will show you kind of step-by-step what we just talked about and show you where to click and what to do. All right. Thanks, guys, and have fun.